We're at a site outside of Paracas, and I just found this, which is a deformed skull, not a massive, huge skull, but clearly an example of cranial deformation here. So I'm not going to tell you where this is because too many people will come and steal things. But Senior Juan is proudly showing off what was recently exhumed from a grave here, done by tomb robbers. This site is massive. In the distance you can see this place, which is actually a giant, is the remains of a pyramid, which we're going to explore next after we search the graveyard. And here's an example of red hair, showing that that this is a royal graveyard. Native Americans do not have red hair. This is not the result of oxidation. There were people who lived here in the distant past who were red-headed. So you can see all the tomb robbing that's been going on here. It's amazing that you could visit a place which is basically public land now. And these ancient graves have simply been ransacked by probably local people looking for articles that they could sell to collectors. Notice the brow ridge on this person. This isn't an elongated head, but the brow ridge here is not typical of normal people as far as I know. It's quite amazing though that such extensive graveyards like this one outside Paracas, there's no governmental control or anything. I mean, as we walk around, see just how many graves there are in this this one small area. You know, people's skulls. Just look how vast this is. It's amazing. And this is a typical grave of Paracas culture construction, as in the elongated skull people, because these adobe hand-shaped stones, or not stones, but hand-shaped mud bricks, are the way that they created their graves, and also their large pyramid-like buildings, such as one we'll be exploring right over there. So hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these plundered tombs at this one location. And probably hundreds, if not thousands more, that have yet to be opened up, for lack of a better term. Now, probably because these people do this at night and are in a hurry to grab whatever they can, they just leave people's body parts lying around, and they wind up breaking things. Like this could very well be part of a big Inca vase, and this is made from, it's called a calabaza. It's basically a squash type gourd that has been fashioned into what was a beautiful container until it got broken. And this is more likely a family tomb, but the people here, there is some nice pottery, so reasonably wealthy people would have been buried here, but not that many. This could be a graveyard of mainly farming people. You see, obviously there's a skull in there, and the long stick is how the roof of the grave was held up. So fibrous material wrapped with a rope of some kind. All of these graves are at least 600 years old. Some go back to the Paracas, which are minimum 2,000, possibly a lot older. This stone here, you can see that it's all smooth on at least two sides. It's called a batan, and it was what was used, it still is used, for grinding corn. So it could very well be, here's another one, it could very well be that batans were so personal and precious that the dead wished to have them buried with them. So the huaca, which is a pyramid, and it's over beyond these two white objects, will have to wait for another day. For a few reasons. One is because we're being attacked by mosquitoes. Whoop. And another is that there's a military helicopter patrolling the area, and we would have to go through this major cotton field, and it's completely illegal to do that, to cross through there, so it has to wait for another day. Once the cotton is picked, then we are allowed to enter. I didn't stage this. This is real. This is simply a pile of smashed up pottery, as well as the skulls of two elongated skulls here. This is the sort of thing you just pick up, like this human face and bits of pots. And the military watching what we're doing. Nazca? Senior Juan is the expert of the ceramics and the cultures of this area. Inca? So Inca period pottery. And finally, in this little film, I just stumbled across an undisturbed tomb here. This is stone, a stone slab over top of it, and then you can see that it's hollow inside. So the material inside has obviously decomposed, and it's intact, possibly an intact series of tombs, but we are not opening them up because that is illegal. So either a university should come here and do archaeological excavations, or actually better yet, there are probably enough artifacts in museums now that they should bring equipment and just rebury all of this, because it's really an appalling thing that modern people can do this to ancient ancestors. The majority of people here around Paracas are not from Paracas. They have no genetic tie. They're from the highlands of Peru. There are no descendants of the Paracas. Paracas died 2,000, or the last of them died 2,000 years ago. But that's really no excuse for this disgusting level of plunder. Now you're probably asking, well, what are you doing here, Brian? Well, I am assistant director of the Paracas History Museum, and we do basically what you might think of as a cleanup operation when we come to these plundered tombs, and any artifacts that we find go into the Paracas History Museum. There are, of course, possessions of the Peruvian government. So